Imagine being a goalkeeper in the prime of your career, facing the other team, who's Gheorghe Hagi, a man that had the touch of Zidane, the dribbling of Maradona, and the shooting of Ronaldo, who, as he got older, seemed to only get better. I mean, at the age of 35, he was scoring goals like this. Our story begins at the end of World War I. After the terror of the war and 18 million deaths, Europe was broken. With countless border disputes across the continent, 40,000 ethnic Aromanians spread out over mostly Greece and Bulgaria fled to Romania, attempting to leave behind terrible persecution and abuse. Among them, Gheorghe Hagi. He will be grandfather of one of the best attacking midfielders the world has ever seen. Gheorghe Hagi was born February 5th, 1965, in the very small town of Sacele, Romania. His parents, I was proud when he, who was called Gheorghe like me, asked me to go and spend the whole day with him, minding the sheep. It was his grandfather who gave him his first ball. Hagi would play on the streets alone, never being allowed to play by the older kids, because they knew he was just too Sportul Studentești. This club was a big deal in Romania, as they were playing in the UEFA Cup at this time. Though the club recognized he was a very skillful player, they were very hesitant to offer him the contract because a medical check revealed that he had heart and lung problems. After Hagi reassured them that if anything happened on the pitch or in training, they would not be held liable, they quickly signed the contract. It was at this time that he got called up to the first team national team, and in 2 years, he would eventually become Romania's captain. To make this even more exciting, club Steaua Bucuresti had recently won the Champions League and was now playing in the European Super Cup, facing Dynamo Kyiv. They realized they needed all the help they could get in this final and received Hagi on loan from his club for this one final game. At first, he was set to be a role player in case of an injury, but once put on the pitch, he scored the first and only goal from a free kick, leading them to a final victory in his first game at the club. That's crazy. In a new club, he won them the final with only one goal from a one-game loan. That is insane. After that, there was obviously no way they could just let him go, and so they permanently signed him. You could look at this right now and say, why would one of the best players in the world sign with this random team when he had offers from Europe? But back then, they had just won the European Super Cup and Champions League final, beating out every team in Europe. In Hagi's first season with the club, he immediately made his presence be known by leading them to the Champions League semi-final, winning the league, and winning the League Cup. The following season would be his best at the club, reaching the final in the Champions League, the best player in the world, and take many trophies to Real Madrid. But this simply did not happen. You have to remember, Hagi was already 25 years old, and while he did not do bad for a midfielder, scoring 4 and assisting 5, he simply did not live up to expectations at the club his first year. People were questioning his spot on the team. The next year was better, in which he scored 16 goals and 7 assists in 50 games. He scored a few memorable goals for the club, including a hat-trick in a 5-0 win against Atletico Bilbao and 40-yard lob in a game against Osasuna. Only, he lacked the defense to play a midfielder. So, this, however, was not enough to win over the fans, and after a mere 2-year stint with the club, Hagi was sold to Brescia, out of any possible club that was calling for his name. You've got to remember, Hagi was one of Europe's best players when he signed for Real Madrid, only for him to join a Serie A team facing relegation. Of course, fans were starstruck, and the media would not let it go. This made him anxious and not as confident as before with his playing ability. It was later learned that the reason he preferred to be sold there was because there was a strong Romanian essence at the club, in which he thought he would feel comfortable and at home. Brescia would then go on to be relegated in his first year to Serie B there. It seemed as if his career was coming to an end. Hagi realized this was his last chance to prove himself in the 1994 World Cup. After being placed in a group with Colombia, fans counted Romania out. Colombia had the world at their feet, with amazing new talents. After having lost against the U.S. in the infamous game in which Andres Escobar scored an auto goal, which proved significant to win the U.S. that game and take Colombia out. Escobar was later killed in Colombia. In a game against Romania, Hagi then led his team to an outstanding 3-1 win over Colombia, getting 2 assists and an absolute screamer from 40 yards out that I'm showing right here. In the round of 16, Hagi led his small Romanian side to defeat Diego Maradona's Argentina in what many call the greatest World Cup game of all time, with both of the teams going head-to-head scoring goals left and right. Gheorghe Hagi then scored the last goal to take Romania to the next round. Overall, with his captain performance for Romania, taking them to the quarterfinals and later taking his club back into Serie A, Barcelona then decided they had to give him a chance. Of course, this infuriated Real Madrid fans after he betrayed them for their rivals. Hagi had an overall successful stint at Barcelona, winning some trophies including 2 Spanish Super Cups, 2 European Championships, and for individual stats, he scored 11 goals and 5 assists in 51 matches. But with the signing of Johan Cruyff as manager, Hagi struggled for playing time, and eventually his time at Barcelona came to a stop. After 2 years at the Spanish club, Hagi signed for Turkish club Galatasaray. You may think this career might as well have been over after not meeting expectations for 3 clubs, but his stint at Galatasaray was what some call the prime of his career. He won many major trophies by inconsistency and controversy due to his rebellious attitude, perceived arrogance, and occasional lack of discipline, leading to conflicts with managers, opponents, and officials. Nevertheless, he remains highly regarded as one of the greatest number 10s of the generation. If you liked what you saw and or learned something, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm making a new playlist of the 100 best players of all time, and you wouldn't want to miss it.